Is the Samsung Galaxy A12 worth buying in 2022? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, and this is the Samsung Galaxy A12. Now, the A12 was launched internationally in December of 2020, and then several months after that, in early 2021, this phone started making its way over to a variety of different prepaid and postpaid carriers in the US. And at the moment, you can buy this phone through a carrier, or if you want to, you can get it factory unlocked so that you can use it with any carrier out there. Now, to see the most up-to-date pricing for this device the time that you're watching this video, definitely take a look at the link in the video description. However, you're most likely going to be getting the best deals on this device if you buy it directly through a carrier. I know that, for example, at one point, Metro by T-Mobile was offering this phone for free if you're switching in from somewhere else. So that's just one of many examples of great deals that are to be had with the Galaxy A12. And if you already own the A12, I'm really curious about where you got it and how much you paid. Now with the A12, we're getting a 6.5-inch display, so certainly a pretty large display here on the device. And that's one of the cool things about many of the phones that have been launched in the last year or so, is that it doesn't matter so much whether the phone is inexpensive or very expensive. Most of the devices are going to be featuring larger displays like we're getting here, which are really great for content consumption, and especially if you're watching videos. Because whether you're on the airplane, maybe you're on the bus, maybe you're on a long car ride as a passenger, you can watch a movie here on the phone and have a pretty good viewing experience with it. Now, the actual display that we're getting here is PLS IPS LCD at 720p. We're getting a PPI of 264, a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor here with the device, and we're getting an 85.5% screen-to-body ratio. So in general, we're getting pretty small bezels all throughout and a really solid ratio of display versus bezels. Now up top here, we do have a water drop notch for the front-facing camera, and that front-facing camera is 8 megapixels. Now definitely take a look at my full review that I've already done here of the phone here in the channel to get a better idea of what the photo and video quality look like here from the device. But essentially, the photo and video quality, it's good enough, to get the job done, especially for a very low-end device like this one. But if you are someone that does like to take photos and videos on a regular basis, and especially if you're doing it as part of your business, for example, then you probably would want to consider going for something a bit more premium. But if you are somebody that just likes to take occasional photos and occasional videos, just to mostly post to social media or send to a friend, then the cameras on this device will get the job done with that. But I will be going over all the various cameras here in a second. Now with the Galaxy A12, there are several different variants of the device out there. So the variant of the phone that you'd find at most prepaid carriers, for example, gives you 32 gigabytes of internal storage with 3 gigabytes of RAM. There's also, though, for the international market, a 64 gigabyte variant of the phone that gives you 4 gigabytes of RAM. So depending on where you get the phone and what country you're in, you might find different configurations of the phone available. Now, no matter which configuration you end up getting, the device does feature microSD card expansion, which is definitely always very welcome to see. Now with this phone, there is no wireless charging, so if that is a feature that you do like to have, then you are not getting it here with the phone. But we do have a fingerprint sensor located conveniently on the power button. So we'll give that a try right now. Very quick. One more time. Very fast. So I do appreciate that, and overall having that placement right there on the power button is really something that I am a big fan of. And then in addition to that, we also do get facial recognition here with the phone. So I do appreciate that there are multiple methods for getting into the device. Now taking a closer look at the camera module on the back of the phone, we are getting a quad camera setup. So there's a 48 megapixel main camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode, and a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. So I'll give you a demonstration of all those various cameras right now, but essentially, when you're in the camera app, this is how things are going to look. From here, you can take photos with the standard camera, of course. We can switch over to the ultra wide, so you can see quite a bit of a difference there. The ultra wide camera especially comes in handy if you're taking photos and videos outdoors, as maybe there's a large building you want to take a photo of, or maybe just a bunch of scenery that you want to have all fit in a single frame. Then the ultra wide camera is excellent for that particular purpose. Then from there, you can go over to the More tab, and you'll find macro. And with the macro camera, again, you can get very close up here and get things to be a nice, crisp detail. You can also go over to portrait, which allows you to take blurred out background pictures with both the rear and front cameras. So there's me right here. There we go. Just took that picture. And here's how it looks. So again, really nice that we do get a variety of different camera features here with the device. Of course, you're not going to be getting quite as many features as you would with a more premium device like a Galaxy S21, for example, or S22. But for an entry-level device like this one, it does get the job done. And I do appreciate that we are at least getting a variety of different cameras, giving us a bunch of different features. Now, with the Galaxy A12, as I mentioned before, depending on where you're located and which particular variant of the phone you end up getting, it does feature either 3 or 4 gigabytes of RAM. However, the processor that this phone comes with is pretty consistent all throughout. It features the MediaTek Helio P35 processor. Now, I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 5 here with the phone, and I got a single core score of 169 and a multi-core score of 965. So what I recommend doing is downloading and installing Geekbench 5 on your current phone, run this test, and then compare these scores to your scores to get a better idea of whether or not this phone is going to be a performance upgrade for you. Now, as far as video recording goes, that does max out at 1080p with both the front and rear cameras, which is to be expected for a phone in this segment. So there is no 4K video, but again, I wouldn't expect that with a very entry-level device, such as the Samsung Galaxy A12. Now, as far as battery capacity goes, that is very impressive. So we're getting a beefy 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery, and we do have the ability to charge this device at 15 watts. So there is fast charging, and in addition to that, very good battery capacity to start out with. So in general, you're gonna have a good experience of using this phone and not having it run out of battery on you unless you're absolutely just on your phone all day. So I'm certainly a big fan of that as well. But let's now take a closer look at the hardware here in the phone. So it is completely made out of plastic besides the front panel. And of course, we do have that water drop notch. I would have preferred a hole punch notch. I would have preferred a hole punch for the front-facing camera instead, similar to what we got with the Galaxy A11. It almost seems like with the A12, it was a step back in some ways compared to the A11, but the camera features that we do gain with this phone versus that device do justify going from that model to this model, but I already have a dedicated comparison between the A11 versus A12, so definitely take a look at that if you do want more details regarding the differences between those two devices. But I wouldn't really call the whole form factor here and design of the A12, very innovative necessarily. It really is more of a phone that's focused on providing you with the basics, but at the same time being refined enough that things will work. It's definitely not like a buggy device, but it certainly isn't very fast either. You can also see that we do have a bit of a thicker bottom bezel with the phone too. But taking a look at the left side of the device, we do have the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. Then on the right side of the phone, we have the power button, which is also the fingerprint sensor, volume down and then volume up. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the phone, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and we have the speaker. And then on the back of the phone, I'm actually a big fan of this design. It is kind of a matte plastic finish. It's not glossy, which is good because it doesn't really pick up any fingerprints. But we have that quad camera setup, we have the flash, we have kind of this cool texture on at least the upper 2/3 of the phone, and then with the Samsung logo here on the bottom. So again, I think the phone has a nice design. I like that, they didn't really try to make things too unique just for the sake of making things unique. They took a design that we've really seen plenty of times with other devices, but put their own twist on it, gave us a nice refined software experience. And in general, while this device certainly doesn't stand out in literally any way, it is at least a decent entry-level budget smartphone if you're not looking to spend too much, but at the same time want a good working device that will be reliable. But I'm definitely really curious to know what you think about the Samsung Galaxy A12. Are you a fan of this phone? Do you personally own this phone already? What brings you to this video? Definitely let me know in the comment section below, and let me know what other devices you are excited about as we go throughout 2022. But this is the Samsung Galaxy A12 in 2022. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.